The stock of the day is brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. With over 17,000 markets and extended trading hours, turn US earnings season volatility into opportunity. Get started at IG.com.
And our stock of the day is Tyro Payments. The CEO of Tyro will step down in about 6 months after apparently accepting a job in private equity in Melbourne. So John Davey joined Tyro in 2021. Now he's been at the helm since 2022. They're obviously looking for a replacement. If you recall, earlier in May, the company lost its bid for SmartPay against a competitive offer. Now, just this week, shares were up on news that Tyro is entering a new partnership for pet insurance payments. But today, the share price is down by about 9%. My guests here, Ben Clark from TMS Private Wealth and Mark Gardner from MPC Markets. Ben, let's talk Tyro, because this was market darling, full of promise when it debuted.
Stock we used to actually own.
Yeah, and after COVID, there was lots of thinking that, everything would reopen and hunky-dory for Tyro. It's not panned out like that.
It hasn't. This has been a business that just seemed to have everything thrown at it. They had a big outage due to their network partner after coming out of COVID. We got out of Tyro a little while ago now. I've got to say that the business, I think, is better quality than it's ever been. The share price is weaker than it's ever been. It's a bit of a head scratcher. What I would say that's probably less understood, and what I mean by better quality is that more than half of their revenue now actually comes from the healthcare sector. So it's not as exposed to the hospitality sector as it used to be. It's much more consistent.
Oof, that's a bad looking chart.
Yeah, so there's two things going on for this business at the moment. The first is that Anthony Albanese has proposed to get rid of all surcharges on car payments. There is a cost in putting a car payment through, and the question is how do you do that if this legislation passes, which it probably will because the Greens support it. The second thing that Tyro, so they had a really good run a couple of years ago, and it's because all the small cap guys were convinced that they get rid of their banking license. And Tyro have to hold a significant amount of capital to have a banking license. And the theory was get rid of the banking license, get rid of the lending component of the business, and then you free up your balance sheet, buy back shares or return capital to shareholders. They've pushed back against the market and said it's not the right strategy. So, look, John, I think, has done a great job. I think the company's now profitable. It's growing rapidly still. But maybe this opens up the banking license thing again with a new CEO. It has been well rumoured that Stripe in the States has been talking
around,
with Tyro. But there has been 4 takeover bids for Tyro that have come to nothing.
Mm-hmm. So today, would you be looking for value in this stock? Buy, hold,
I think
or
it
sell?
probably looks pretty good value at this price. I'd probably go buy.
We've got to buy. Yeah. Let's go to Mark on Tyro.
Yeah, I feel a little bit sorry for the company, really, the share price and the shareholders particularly, because I don't think I've ever seen as strong an overwhelming analyst buy for a company that's trading below, even the lowest of target prices. So. And it's just a stock that's promised so much and just from a share price point of view has delivered so little. So I don't know whether, I think it was down a lot more than that early on. I don't think a change of CEO is going to be, whilst he's done a good job, I think it's at a mature stage where it's not like a startup anymore. So I don't think it's a 20% mover sort of thing, difference. And obviously, if it does open that banking, the banking license discussion up again, and there's buybacks and things, it might start to get some positive momentum. So, look, it's very odd. Like I'm a little bit wait and see on this one. I'd definitely hold. Any positive signs or any signs of positive, even technical momentum, I'd probably be lured in because it is cheap, and I just can't get my head around why it's been down here for so long. To be honest, I think there's worse businesses that trade at much higher premiums than this. And I do like that. I've always said that healthcare sector, my wife being in that allied health sector, you've got to use Tyro. It's just you don't have any other choice. CBA went into the market at one stage and very quickly exited or haven't got any traction. So I think that's a really sticky part.
I didn't realise that, yeah.
Yeah, it's to claim on the spot. Otherwise, you've got to then send things in. And
they've got all the infrastructure that's linked into the Medicare system and all that sort of thing. And it's taken them years to build that out.
And so the barrier to entry there must be enormous because and growing that. So those customers are super sticky.
Yeah.
They just probably need. I'm not too concerned about the legislation part. I just think they're small increments. We're talking about. Trump just expects the consumer in the US to chin 10-15% rises via tariffs. Like, I don't think a surcharge being added to the price is going to be a big deal here, being that they're 0.5% to 1% sort of thing. So I think it'll just be journaled differently. It'll just be added into the overall because the vendor will have to pay. But look, I would say a hold, but I'm erring on a buy. But I think we just need to see what happens with the new CEO, and hopefully there's a few changes that give it some positive momentum because I think it's got a lot of upside.
Okay.
But you've been stuck in it for a while at these prices thinking the same thing.
Right. All right. So that's Tyro Payment. Turned out to be a pretty interesting discussion, I think. That was the stock of the day.
The stock of the day was brought to you by IG. Turn volatility into opportunity this US earnings season with extended trading hours on over 110 key US shares. Get started at IG.com.